Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Gilliland, attorney blogger on Bowtie Law, and with Jessica Meterson on The Legal Geeks. With me is one of my former college classmates, now in charge of eDiscovery marketing at Access Data, Caitlin Murphy. Caitlin, how are you today?
I'm great, Josh. It's good to talk to you again.
Always, always. It's nice to see what adventures you guys have cooking up. And there's this thing coming up at the beginning of February that's probably taking a lot of your time and focus right now. And what could that be?
Just a little bit. Legal Tech New York. Gotta love it. Every year it comes in January, February, and makes us all go crazy in the marketing departments.
Indeed, it does. But it's a great time because a lot of people like us start thinking about what are the big issues to talk about in the practice of law. And what are your thoughts on some of the big issues that lawyers could be facing and judges could be facing as it pertains to e-discovery, cybersecurity? How do you see the world?
Well, I think really you started to touch on it already, Josh, which is that e-discovery, cybersecurity, big data, governance, risk compliance, they're all coming together. And that's really the big trend that we're seeing for 2014. It's been happening for a while. These areas have been converging, but we're really seeing right now that that's coming together. The business problems are changing from separately managed areas into just a massive pain point for all types of organizations, whether you're a law firm or a corporate legal department or a government agency. The coming together of these things is affecting you. And really the connection between the areas is data and our need to search and organize it, to cull it, to get it into a manageable piece that we can review for legal cases. So I think that's the biggest trend for 2014. An offshoot of that trend, which is what Access Data is really going to be focusing on at Legal Tech New York, is the growth in mobile device usage and bring your own device. That basically forms a thread between all these areas because we all carry at least 2 or 3 mini computers around with us in our pockets, and we are creating evidence on them constantly, and that evidence needs to be harvested from these devices, whether it's for a law case or regulatory manner or just for due diligence. And it's that right now there aren't a lot of companies that are making solutions that allow you to do that. And I would say AD is the only one, Access Data is the only one doing it in an e-discovery flavored way. So we're really going to be focusing on that at Legal Tech New York, that coming together of the areas that I mentioned, and then mobile e-discovery's role in that.
I agree with you. And I would add that we're going to have a new factor involved with all of these things, and that's the public starting to understand these issues. From the Target data breach that took place in the last, this year, 2014, to all the NSA activities that are taking place, people are suddenly understanding location data. The net neutrality decision that came out yesterday, people are understanding that half of the equation now. And it's always kind of been there as like a little low rumble, but it hasn't been exciting. Well,
Right.
now people are starting to get it and starting to understand it from whatever your views are on the NSA, if you're part of the 80 people who think it's okay, or the issues with Target and data security. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to help us get the message out on how to handle these issues. I had somebody email today about authenticating Google searches. So, there's a movement afoot to understand and do better. And I think that's a nice thing, since you and I have been doing this for a while now. And
yes, it seems like we've come a really long way. We started out in the early 2000s with email, and Word docs, and how do we search those, and how do we get data out of them? And people were saying, I won't ask for your email if you don't ask for mine. And that was their e-discovery strategy. And now we're in the same place with a lot of these data types that you mentioned, and especially mobile device data. People don't know what to do with it, so they're making quote unquote gentlemen's agreements not to ask for that data. And as you and I both know how that turns out. So we're excited to be kind of on the cutting edge of this issue.
It's fantastic, and yeah, what you just said goes right to the heart of the duty of competency. You can't. It's not okay. But when we look at the tech, you guys are doing something cool at Legal Tech that I thought you should mention. Is there a demo taking place?
Yeah, I mean, we are in booth 1303, and we have demos of our Mobile Phone Examiner Plus product, as well as Summation and AD eDiscovery, and how those products work together, which is even more exciting because you can use Mobile Phone Examiner Plus to take data off of phones and then review it right alongside other case data and Summation. So we'll be demoing that. We also have a couple of super sessions, which I'm really excited about because they're being conducted by our mobile phone wizard. That's his official title. No, I'm just kidding. But our VP of mobile forensics, Lee Reber, who's coming to Legal Tech especially to do these sessions. And one of them, what we're going to do is really cool. We basically bought a random deleted smartphone on eBay. So just any old phone that somebody says is wiped and clean and clear. And Lee is going to demonstrate live what is actually still on that phone. So this should give heart to people in legal departments who are worried when they do that litigation hold and they ask for everybody's phone so they can get data off of them. And somebody comes up and says, yeah, well, my phone's been wiped. Well, you know what? It hasn't really been wiped. And there's still a lot of data on there. So Lee's going to do a live demonstration of what can be found on a random wiped phone. And that's on Tuesday, February 4th, 1 to 2 p.m. in our Gibson suite. And then the next day on Wednesday, same time, 1 to 2 p.m., same place, Gibson suite, Lee is going to be showing us what kind of data you can find in smartphone apps. And this is really fascinating because people are using apps more for things like chat and SMS than they are using the phone applications themselves because, hey, you don't have to pay a per text fee if you use Snapchat to do all your texts. And so a lot of evidence that would be pretty important in any sort of case you could think about would be found in an app rather than in kind of the main body of the phone. So Lee is going to, again, do a live demonstration of how to pull that data off of a smartphone. So we've got a couple really cool things going on there, and I'm excited for those.
That's pretty cool. I mean, the entire smartphone, I don't want to use the word revolution, but evolution probably would be appropriate on how, information stored on it, not necessarily on the hard drive itself anymore, but with the Microsoft operating system, over 70% of the data goes through portals to different clouds. It's like, well, how do you go get that?
Yeah, well, it's still on the phone. Anything that you open on your phone or you look at an attachment or you just view it, that's still there. It leaves an artifact of itself that can be extracted and exported and reviewed right alongside your emails and your Word documents and your paper documents that are scanned. And it's a pretty great little piece of software we have that does that, and we're excited to demonstrate it, show people that it's out there.
But it's so nice that you guys are going to do it live and show folks how it works because that's cool.
Oh yeah, it's fun.
That's pretty groovy. Now you guys have your own conference coming up, and when's that going to be?
Yes, the Access Data User Conference is coming up May 13th through 16th, 2014 in Las Vegas at the Aria Resort. And it's a really great opportunity for anybody, user of our products or not, to meet not only eDiscovery and legal professionals, but forensics and law enforcement professionals and cybersecurity professionals as well. We have a great turnout there. We have tons of CLE and CPE credit that you can earn. Really great, social kind of mixing opportunities, networking. And so this year we've got Howard Schmidt, who's the either the current or very recent cybersecurity advisor to President Obama, who's going to be our keynote speaker. So we've just got a really great program planned for that. So yes, I would like to give a little plug to that. Come over to our website and look for the link to ADUC and register for the conference.
Awesome. Now, have you had a chance to look at the proposed amendments to the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure at all?
I have, yeah. I went to the Sedona conference last year in March and sat in on the panel that discussed those. I think there's a lot of interesting interesting back and forth about them,
Yeah,
to say the least.
yeah, there could be, if there's not some revisions, there could be some really in-depth committee notes.
That's right.
I, a lot of it seems okay to me because I understand the need to do something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of putting proportionality up front because I think it's going to backfire,
Yeah,
and we'll have people fighting about each and every request because of it.
I agree. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, they could do that now, but they don't. And
Right.
instead of,
I think the preservation rule is the one that's really, very contentious right now, and I can really see both sides of that because, as you know, in my old dark days back in the past, I was a plaintiff's lawyer. Now I work with a lot of corporate legal departments, and I can really see both sides of that argument. So I'll be interested to see how the people who are much more expert than I am at these things figure this out.
yeah, I've always had that mix of I did more defense work, but I had plaintiff leanings.
Right.
And so, which I thought made me balanced. But some of that's pretty funky. I remember a webinar that Michael Arkfeld and Osceola did,
Mm-hmm.
and where the judge talked about the escalating, standard between, are you a fool, a damn fool, or a goddamn fool, and as basically the legal standard. And it's like that could be right. So it's.
It's a pretty good sum up of the situation.
Yeah, like how bad were you as you look at the spectrum? So yeah, that part didn't. I thought it was interesting. I didn't think it was overly contentious. That's not the part. I was more concerned with the proportionality because I think that's
Mm-hmm.
just it's gonna make things brutal and cause motion practice. But
Yes, the discovery lawyers will be busy for years to come, no matter what.
no right answer. Well, we're at the beginning of the new year. The Oscar nominations just came out, and so let's look ahead to 2014. And since we're both geeks, I see the X-Files picture on the back wall. What geek movie are you looking forward to the most this year?
Well, I've got two, and I'm actually not completely sure they're coming out this year, but I hope they are. But the next installment of both The Hunger Games and The Hobbit are the two that I'm really looking forward to. Are in my geek canon of favorite books, and so just seeing them on the big screen is so amazing. I love the last Hunger Games, and the Desolation of Smaug was made my Christmas holiday. So I am very excited for those two films.
Those will be, I think, like November, December.
Yeah, I have a long wait.
Yeah, but I agree. I think The Hunger Games will be a lot of fun, and because it's Jennifer Lawrence, and
She's always a lot of fun.
she's great. And I love Desolation of Smaug, and
Yeah.
I haven't done a blog post on it because I have my interpretation of what it means. I look at it as like a parable about the 1930s and the neutrality acts, and you can't ignore the world, especially when there's a threat that's rising. So that's always been my interpretation of the
Yeah, you
Hobbit.
sound like you have the blog post half written already.
Yes, I do think about these things. I was thinking about Gerald Nye, the neutrality acts, and those taking the Oxford Pledge in the 1930s. And then, in the United States, when World War II hits with Pearl Harbor, all those guys disappear.
That's
And,
right.
and rightfully so. You get Robert Taft resurfacing afterwards in World War II with, the opposition to being engaged. But that's another story. But anyway, I've been thinking about that because I love The Hobbit and Fellowship of the Ring for
Such
those
great
reasons.
books. Yeah, such great books.
That'll be a lot of fun. Did you enjoy? There were differences between the book and the movie. Obviously, did that bother you, or did you enjoy it? Or
I thought they did it well. It's actually been quite a while since I read The Hobbit because it was, kind of a kid's book for me. I've read the Fellowship of the Ring series or the Lord of the Rings series much more recently, and the Silmarillion. I'm a real geek when it comes to this stuff. But yeah, so I don't have as clear a memory of The Hobbit, but I was really happy with the movies. I love the guy that's playing Bilbo, Martin. I can't remember his last name right now, but he's a great actor.
Yeah.
Freeman, yeah. And then the other half of the Sherlock duo is the dragon himself, Benedict Cumberbatch. So yeah, it's a it's a match made in heaven for me, or a group made in heaven, I should say.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool. And I read the book when I was in the third grade.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I think third grade and then maybe seventh grade for the reread. So
Yeah, I've only read it once, so I'm tempted to go back and
yeah,
because there are differences. But it struck a chord, and they did a nice job of making Smog terrifying, of being in the treasure room and having that move about. It was a beautiful scene. So,
yeah, really great stuff.
but we'll be sure to talk about that in December. And
Yes,
even though it's January, there's a lot to do between now and then.
just a
So,
little bit. Yeah, a whole year.
well, awesome. Well, I hope Legal Tech's successful, and really looking forward to your conference, and hoping that goes smoothly. And I know we'll be talking as we continue diving into the proposed rules and everything else.
As the year goes on, yeah, and I do invite everybody to stop by the booth 1303. I forgot to mention we're also having a happy hour on Tuesday, 5 to 7 in our Gibson suite, and we'd love anybody to stop by that as well. And please come get a demo of MPE because it's just really cool, and I want everybody to see it and how it works with summation.
That's fantastic. I encourage. One of the biggest issues that we have when it comes to eDiscovery is lawyers talk about it without understanding the tools or any concept of the tools that are available, assuming things are just impossible right out of the gate, and that's frequently not the case. And with just with phones, and if it's a divorce case, and there's going to be a lot of state court cases involving that technology, and that's where MPE and others can really help. So
Definitely.
check out the demos that AD is going to be putting on. So
Thanks, Josh.
anytime, everyone. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.